It's Re-Educated TV, where we keep you informed, on your toes, and thinking, of course. Today, we will be covering King James, the infant king. Here, we have two paintings of King James, the original and the English version, what I would define as being fake. Let's get straight to it. King James the First biography. Keywords: King James the First biography, Stuart, James Charles, James the Sixth and First, an infant king. James Charles Stuart was born on June 19th, 1566 at Edinburgh Castle in Scotland. His father, Lord Darnley, was murdered in early 1567 before young James was 1 year old. His mother, Mary Queen of Scots, was soon afterwards forced to abdicate the Scottish throne due to her suspected involvement in the murder. Little James was crowned King James VI of Scotland at the tender age of 13 months. Reformation leader John Knox preached the sermon at his coronation. James' mother, Mary, was imprisoned in England by her cousin Queen Elizabeth, and 19 years later, in February of 1587, was executed for her part in a Roman Catholic conspiracy to assassinate Queen Elizabeth. And so, like many monarchs of the time, King James was reared by neither father nor mother, although he did maintain an ongoing correspondence with his mother. He said that she never tried to convert him to her religion. Of his 4 tutors, perhaps one of the most influential was George Buchanan, a staunch Calvinist. It was under Mr. Buchanan's strict teaching methods that King James became one of the most learned and intellectually curious men to ever sit on any throne. Mr. Buchanan was 64 years old when he began tutoring the young king. It was Greek before breakfast, then Latin and history, composition, arithmetic, cosmography, dialectics, rhetorics, and of course theology. King James spoke fluent Greek, Latin, French, English, and Scots, and was schooled in Italian and Spanish. The king once remarked that he could speak Latin before he could speak his native Scots. Because of his linguistics capabilities, King James typically did not need a translator when conducting business with other heads of states. The stiff intellectual diet from George Buchanan was absorbed by a young boy who grew into a powerful man with a powerful pen. Cambridge texts in the history of political science taught King James VI and First political writings, notes that were among the most important and influential British writings of their period. King James has long been known for his great learning and has been called Great Britain's Solomon. Okay, we see that King James was well taught in many subjects and knew several languages. His mother, Mary Stuart, Mary, Queen of Scots, was born on the 8th of December 1542, died on the 8th of February 1587. Mary, the only surviving legitimate child of King James V of Scotland, was 6 days old when her father died and she acceded to the throne. She spent most of her childhood in France, while Scotland was ruled by regents, and in 1558 married Francis the Dauphin of France. Now, Dauphin, definition of Dauphin is someone apparently heired to the French throne. Mary was Queen Consort of France from his accession in 1559 until his death in December 1560. Widowed, Mary returned to Scotland, arriving in Leith on the 19th of August 1561. 4 years later, she married her half-cousin, Henry Stuart, Lord Darnley, and in June 1556, they had a son, James. As you can see, Mary Stuart, Mary Queen of Scots, is clearly not Caucasian. Remember, her first marriage was to Francis II of France. This is a coin depicting Francis II of France and Mary Stuart, Mary Queen of Scots, dated 1558. Now, we can clearly see Francis II features and his hair. We already established that Mary wasn't white. And now you can see Francis is also not white. Okay, let's take a look at Mary Stuart's second husband, Henry Stuart, Lord Darnley. Mary had briefly met her English-born half-cousin, Henry Stuart, Lord Darnley, in February 1561, when she was in mourning for Francis. Darnley's parents, the Earl and Countess of Lennox, were Scottish aristocrats as well as English landowners. They sent him to France ostensibly to extend their condolences while hoping for a potential match between her son and Mary. Both Mary and Darnley were grandchildren of Margaret Tudor, sister of Henry VIII of England, and patrilineal descendants of the High Stewards of Scotland. Darnley shared a more recent Stuart lineage with the Hamilton family as a descendant of Mary Stuart, Countess of Arran, a daughter of James II of Scotland. They once again met on Saturday, the 17th of February, 1565, at Wemyss Castle in Scotland. Mary fell in love with the long lad, as Queen Elizabeth called him, since he was over 6 feet tall. They married at Holyrood Palace on the 29th of July, 1565. That's Henry Stuart. There's not much I need to say about this portrait of King James VI and first father, Henry Stuart, Lord Darnley. There is no doubt that he is a melanated individual, what you would call black. Okay, let's speak about his cause of death. In February 1567, Darnley's residence was destroyed by an explosion and was found dead in the garden of the Kirkhope Fields. Mary was away at the time attending the wedding of one of her closest servants, Bastien Pegues. Investigations later determined that there were 2 barrels of gunpowder placed in a small room under Darnley's quarters. Both Darnley and his valet William Taylor's bodies were found surrounded by a coat, a chair, cloak, and dagger. Darnley was only dressed in his nightshirt, suggesting he left in a haste from his sleeping quarters. The explosion was generally believed to have been orchestrated by Earl of Bothwell, but he was acquitted of the charge in April 1567 and married Mary Stuart a month later. It was widely rumored that she and Bothwell had an affair. Now, this is said to be an illustration of Kirkhope Fields after the murder of Darnley, drawn for William Cecil shortly after the murder. So that's King James VI and first father. Now you're probably wondering why he's referred to as King James VI and first. Well, he was King James VI of Scotland and King James I of Ireland and England. This is a map of Scotland, Ireland, and Britannica, otherwise called England. These are the places where King James VI and first ruled. Then there's the matter of his name, James. James is the English for Jacob and also Jacob. As you can see, this is King James, and it says, King James, black royalty. King James, clearly what you would call black. Blacks are original royalty. Jews ruled Europe. Now, let's take a closer look at the figure on the right. And it says, Rex Jacobus the Sixth, D.G. Magna Britanni Frank E.T. Hibernia, right? So it's Latin. So Rex is king, right? Magna, that's great, right? So King Jacob the Sixth, D.G. Great Britain, Frank E.T. Hibernia. So Hibernia in ancient geography, one of the names by which Ireland was known to Greek and Roman writers. Other names were Lerne, Lernia, and Hibernia. All these are adaptation of a stem from which Erin and Iri are also derived. So, that's King Jacob VI, D.G., Great Britain, Frank E.T. Hibernia. Now, Frank is referring to France. And Jacob, that's Hebrew, right? Do you know the story of Jacob and Esau, when Jacob tricked his father into giving him Esau's blessing. That's Hebrew. That's Jewish, right? Jacob. We can see that King James bears the seal or title of Jacob. We will be reading a page or two from this book, The Negro Question Part 4, The Missing Link, by Lee Cummings. Image location, New College Library, Edinburgh, UK. I know that this image of a black King James can be a little confusing because of your Western education, but this is the truth that is known by the rich and the elite in the world. The truth is, King James came from a long line of black Scottish Stuart kings. 343 years of rulership in Scotland. The Stuarts not only ruled in Scotland, they ruled France, Spain, Ireland, and England, Britain, Wales. King James was able to rule all of these lands because all of these people were of Iberian black descent. Okay, let's take a look at the Scottish king list. First you have Robert II, 1371 to 1390. Robert III, 1390 to 1406. James I, 1406 to 1437. James II, 1437 to 1460. James III, 1460 to 1488. James IV, 1488 to 1513. James V, 1513 to 1542. Mary Queen of Scots, 1542 to 1567. James the Sixth and First of England, 1567 to 1625. Charles the First, 1625 to 1649. Charles the Second, 1649 to 1685. James and Mary, 1689 to 1694. Anne of Great Britain and Scotland, 1702 to 1707. And it says, as you can see from this Scottish kings list, King James I of England was a descendant of the black Scottish kings who claimed the thrones of France, Spain, Ireland, England, Britain, Wales, and Scotland. Let's take a brief look at the Stuarts family tree. Mary's relationship to the houses of Stuart, Guise, and Tudor. We have James II of Scotland and Mary of Guiders. They had James III of Scotland and Mary Stuart. If you go further down, you will see Mary Queen of Scots and Henry Stuart, Lord Darnley, and they had James the Sixth and First. Now, this is the coat of arms or the crest of the House of Stuart. I can't see what is written on it. It's not visibly enough, but I'm sure you can see the image on the right is clearly melanated. So that's the crest or coat of arms of the House of Stuart. Here we have a coin showing King James as a boy. We already know that his mother and father was black, so that would definitely make him black as well. His hair is a dead giveaway. Can't hide the hair, right? So King Charles I, King of Scotland, was beheaded by the English. After Cromwell had executed King Charles I and ravaged the three kingdoms, the Jacobites tried to restore the Black Stuart kings to power. They were known as Jacobites. Right? I began to see that this Solemn League document was a subtle way of the three kingdoms to actually take a census, because the people had to sign their names and give personal information. It looks like the king was recording the kingdom before some great tragedy occurred. That's the Jacobites and the Solemn League of Document. We will get into the Solemn League of Document and the Jacobites in another lesson. That's an episode all by itself. This is Richard II, King of England and Wales, Scotland, Ireland, Spain, and France, 1377 to 1399, son of Edward the Black Prince. And it says, this is an image of Richard II, the Prince of Wales, Britain, to name a few. You can find this information on Wikipedia, Encyclopedia, and the Order of the Garter, British Museum. This is what the population in Wales and Britain looked like before the English invasion. The British Wales and the English were two different people. The ancient Brits were black and the invading English were white. I am only showing you these images of these black kings of Wales to establish a truth, and that is that the original Britons or Wales were black, and they are here in this captivity with us. Some of the Stuart family was killed and the rest taken captive and sent to the Americas, the West Indies, and America. Now, this is a list showing the different places they were taken. So, on the list, we have Scottish captives sent to Barbados, Boston, Charleston, Cambridge, Concord, Hingham, Ipswich, Virginia, New England, Maryland. Irish captives sent to Amazon, 1612, West Indies, Antigua, Montserrat, Virginia, New England, Barbados, Australia, Jamaica, Guyana. Wales captives sent to Pennsylvania, Connecticut, Idaho, Tennessee, Ohio, and Rhode Island. So that's the list of the captives that was sent to the Americas, the West Indies, and America. This is the image of Elizabeth of Bohemia, 1596 to 1662, daughter of King James VI of Scotland and first of England and Ireland, Mother Anne of Denmark, the wife of Frederick V, Elector Palatine, Holy Roman Empire, briefly Queen of Bohemia due to her husband's short reign in Bohemia. Elizabeth is often referred to as the Winter Queen. With the demise of the Stuart dynasty in 1714, her descendants, the Hanoverian rulers, succeeded to the British throne. So it's basically saying after the demise of her descendants, the Stuarts, the Hanovers or the Hanoverian rulers succeeded to the British throne. This is said to be the last Stuart monarch and Queen of Great Britain. There is no way we could not mention what King James is known for around the world. That is the translation of the Bible, what we know today as the King James Version. Like Tyndale's translation and the Geneva Bible, the Authorized Version was translated primarily from Greek, Hebrew, and Aramaic texts, although with secondary reference both to the Latin Vulgate and to more recent scholarly Latin versions. 2 books of the Apocrypha were translated from a Latin source. We have the Memoirs of the Secret Services of John Mackey, Esquire, during the reigns of King William, Queen Anne, and King George I. So that's John Mackey. He was a spy in that time period for the royal crown, pursuant to the directions of the Princess Sophia. First up, we have Earl of Kingston, of the name and family of Pierrepoint, hath a very good estate, is a very fine gentleman of good sense, well bred, and a lover of the ladies, entirely in the interest of his country, makes a good figure, is of a black complexion, well made, not 40 years old. So that's Earl of Kingston. And we see that he was a lover of the ladies. So next we have Montagu Venables Bertie, Earl of Abingdon, is a branch of the Berties, a gentleman of fine parts, makes a good figure in the countries of Oxford and Buckinghamshire, was made by the Queen Constable of the Tower of London, is very high for the monarchy and church, of a black complexion, past 40 years old. Up next is Charles, Duke of St. Albans, is son to King Charles II by Mrs. Gwyn, was made by King William one of the bedchamber and captain of the band of pensioners, and sent by the king to France to congratulate the marriage of the Duke of Burgundy. He is a gentleman, very way bon naturel, well bred, doth not love boastiness, is well affected to the constitution of his country. He is of a black complexion, not so tall as the Duke of Northumberland, yet very like King Charles, turned of 30 years old. So that's Charles, Duke of St. Albans. And they said he is of a black complexion, very like King Charles, right? Charles, Duke of St. Albans. Then we have John, Archbishop of York, is Dr. Sharp. He was rector of St. Giles in the Fields in the reign of King James. When preaching warmly against popery, he was silenced, and the Bishop of London, Dr. Compton, suspended from his office for not turning him out. He was made by King William, Archbishop of York, and his queen hath made him her Lord Almoner. He is one of the greatest ornaments of the Church of England, of great piety and learning, a black man and 55 years old. We have Charles, Duke of Somerset, Master of the Horse, of the ancient family of Seymour, who made so great a figure in the reign of Edward VI. He is of a middle stature, well shaped, a very black complexion, a lover of music and poetry, of good judgment, but by reason of a great hesitation in his speech, wants expression. He is about 42 years old. So we can see that he has a speech impediment, right? So that's Charles, Duke of Somerset, Master of the Horse. Conclusion. From the information presented above, it is evident that the infant king, James I of Britannica, 6th of Scotland, was melanated or black. The detailed analysis of his immediate family, his father, mother, and extended family further reinforces this point. Furthermore, the pictures or images of personas discussed show that these early rulers and nobles of the kingdom were of ancient black royal origins. The above provides an excellent snippet of information to blacks throughout the diaspora, especially as we live in a world that has taught us that all these great rulers of Europe were of Caucasian heritage. That's it for today. Thanks for watching. See you soon. Take care.